Hey there. Tonight, you won't be riding with knights or feasting in castles. No, tonight, you're clocking in. Not as a noble, not as a hero, but as something far more honest. A labourer. One of the millions of forgotten hands that built the world from the dirt up. 18 jobs. 18 brutal, back-breaking, soul-crushing ways to earn your place in a world that never really wanted you. Some stink, some scar, some strip away your dignity one shift at a time. And yet, each one was real, vital, unrelenting. You're about to step into them. You'll wake before the sun. You'll bleed from places you didn't know could hurt. You'll carry loads too heavy, breathe air too foul, and wonder, more than once, how anyone ever survived a life like this. So if this kind of slow, dark storytelling helps you unwind, fall asleep, or just take a breath after a long day, feel free to like the video, maybe subscribe, and drop a comment to let us know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. It's always a strange comfort knowing we're drifting off together, separated by distance, connected by quiet. Now, settle in, pull the blanket tight, and prepare to wake up to a job you never wanted, because your first shift is about to begin. The Gong Farmer, your shift starts just after midnight, because this job, the one they won't even say out loud in church, can't be done in daylight. It has to be quiet, hidden, secret. You pull on your tunic, already stiff with dried muck, and lift the long-handled scoop. Its wooden grip is slick with sweat. Maybe yours, maybe someone else's. Doesn't matter. You step out into the alley behind the tavern, the air thick with the scent of rot, smoke, and something worse. Always something worse. You breathe through your mouth, but even that doesn't save you. Tonight, like every night, you're the Gong Farmer. And that word, gong, is just a polite way of saying what no one wants to name. You shovel human waste, excrement, night soil. You dig it out of cesspits behind homes, inns and workshops. You gather it from chamber pots left by doors, still warm. You wade, sometimes waist deep, in a slurry of human leavings. And when you scoop it, you carry it. Slow, heavy, back-breaking, to the carts that will haul it beyond the town walls. No one thanks you. No one looks you in the eye. Children whisper about you. Women cross themselves when you pass. Even the town priest, who preaches humility every Sunday, flinches when you walk by. But without you, the town would choke on its own filth. You pass the butcher's shop. The stench of blood and fat is almost refreshing by comparison. Then the alley behind the alehouse, where the pit hasn't been emptied in weeks. You brace yourself as you push open the low wooden hatch. And there it is. A pit 10 feet deep, thick with years of waste, alive with insects, bubbling faintly at the cool air. You don't look directly at it anymore. You just work, scoop, lift, dump, over and over. Your shoulders scream, your nose forgets how to smell anything else, and your boots stick to the ground like the earth itself wants to keep you. This isn't a job, it's a sentence. And the worst part? You chose it. Not because you wanted to, but because your father did it, and his father, and you couldn't afford an apprenticeship, couldn't read, couldn't buy land, so you took the only work no one else wanted. They say you get paid well, but the coins come slowly, and the sickness comes faster. Your hands are cracked and stained. You haven't felt clean in years. And at night, when you dream, it isn't of escape, it's of silence, of a world where the pits are already empty. But the sun's rising now. Your shift is over, and tomorrow you'll be back. Because someone has to keep the filth from flooding the streets, And for now, that someone is you. The treadwheel crane operator. The foreman's shout is the first thing you hear. Not a good morning, not even your name. Just a sharp bark that means climb in. The wheel is waiting. You trudge toward it. Wooden slats taller than a man, rimmed with iron bands and coated in dust and sweat. It looks like a hamster wheel, except it groans like an old cathedral door and tries to kill you if you lose your footing. You're a treadwheel crane operator, which is a fancy way of saying you walk in circles for 12 hours a day, so someone else's stone can rise. You climb in, barefoot, always barefoot. Your soles need to feel the wood, because one slip is enough to get your ribs shattered, your spine snapped, your skull crushed beneath tons of falling masonry. You learned that lesson fast. The wheel shifts, creaks, tilts slightly, and you begin. Step after step after step, the wheel turns. Above you, ropes tighten, pulleys creak. Somewhere, high up on the scaffolding of the cathedral they've been building for 2 generations, a stone block rises. Slowly, inch by inch. You don't get to see it. All you see is the same plank in front of your toes, over and over again. You try not to think about your legs. The burn started an hour ago. Now your thighs twitch with every movement. Your calves feel like they're unraveling. Your back is slick with sweat. Your breath comes in little huffs. The only break you get is when the wheel is empty, but that never lasts. They have stones to move, timbers, beams, anything too heavy for a man to lift. So they put you in a wheel like an ox, because that's all you are here. Muscle and weight and motion, a beast that walks in place while the world rises around you. Sometimes you think about running, but where would you go? Your brother works the quarries, your cousin drives the oxen that pull the cart, your mother stitches sacks for flour, her fingers knotted and slow. This isn't just your life, it's the family trade. You wanted to be a priest once, but priests don't eat if their families starve. And the cathedral doesn't care what you dreamed of when you were 10. It only cares that the stones rise. The foreman yells again. New block. You tighten your jaw, take a breath, and keep walking. The lime burner. You've stopped smelling the smoke. That was the first part of you to go. Your nose. Now you barely notice the thick white fog that coils around your feet, wraps around your throat, and clings to the inside of your chest like it wants to stay there. You are a lime burner, which means you wake before dawn to climb the hillside where the earth is torn open and lined with crude stone kilns, great mouths in the earth that belch heat and hunger and smoke. They burn day and night. They never cool down, not while there's lime to make. The job is simple. Feed the fire, keep it hot, pull out what's left. Only it isn't simple. Nothing here is. You haul wagon loads of limestone, blocks the size of your head, up the hill. Your arms feel hollow after the second trip. Your shirt sticks to your back. The smoke starts to sting your eyes the minute you're close enough to toss in the first stone. Then comes the fuel. You stack timber with shaking hands. You shovel in charcoal, watching it vanish into the orange glow. The kiln groans. It pops. It shifts, sometimes violently. You once saw a man lose his fingers when the vent cap fell the wrong way. Another went blind from standing too close, too long. That was his 3rd day. And still, this is one of the better paying jobs, because no one wants it. When limestone burns, it transforms. It cooks down into something raw and caustic. Quicklime, used for building, whitewashing, even treating corpses. The townspeople want it, the masons need it, and you're the one who makes it. But there's a cost. Your throat is raw. You cough without warning now. Your skin itches where the lime dust settles, around your eyes, your wrists, the edges of your mouth. No matter how tightly you tie the cloth across your face, the ash finds its way in. You haven't tasted food in weeks. Not really. Everything has the sour bite of minerals and smoke. The other men barely speak. They're all too tired, too hoarse, too scared of wasting breath that won't come back. At night, you dream of drowning, but not in water, in dust. In the morning, you wake coughing and taste blood in the back of your mouth. You have a choice. Keep working or starve. And so you climb again. Higher this time. The kiln is hungry, and you, poor fool, are the one it feeds on most. The rat catcher. You move like a shadow. Slow, quiet, eyes low. You learned quickly that the rats don't like to be watched. They scatter at the first sound, the first flicker of movement, and you can't afford to miss. Not tonight, because you're the rat catcher. You weren't born to it. No one is. It's something you fall into, usually when no other door opens. And this job? It's not even a door. It's a hole in the floor you've crawled into, and now you can't climb back out. Your left hand grips the sack. Your right clutches the pole, iron-tipped, a cruel little barb at the end. It used to disgust you. Now you just focus on aim. The streets are dark and damp, perfect for the ones you hunt. The taverns have closed. The alleys have quieted. This is your time. You hear them before you see them. A soft skittering along the gutters, a high-pitched squeak that sounds almost like laughter. You freeze, then you strike. 1, 2, a third slips past your foot. You curse under your breath and kneel to tie the sack. It twitches and squeals. You've caught 4 tonight. That's decent. Might even be enough for a coin or 2. The baker near the square pays well. His cellars are swarming, but some won't pay at all. They say you're cursed. They say where the rat catcher walks, plague follows. They might be right. You smell it in the air sometimes. Not just rot, but something worse. Something black and wet and final. You've seen it behind people's eyes before the boils even form. You've caught rats with tumours the size of walnuts. But you keep going, because you're paid to. You tuck a pouch of crushed herbs into your shirt. They say it wards off disease. You'd believe anything now. Some days the priests preach against you. They say you consort with death. You don't argue. You just nod. Because in a way, you do. You take death by the tail, bind it in a bag and offer it for silver. Once, a nobleman tried to hire you as entertainment, wanted to see you work while he ate goose. You declined. Even you have lines. Another noise, behind the fishmonger's stall. A big one. You step forward. This time it fights. You wrestle it off your boot, jabbing hard, your arms shaking from the effort. When it's done, you're sweating, your hands bleeding. You check your skin for bite marks, your blood for colour. Still red, still safe. For now, you walk home before the sun rises. You'll sleep late if the dreams don't come. You've started seeing rats even with your eyes closed, but the sack is full. And tomorrow night, it begins again. The fuller, they always admire the cloth. The monks in their smooth brown robes, the merchants flaunting rich wool tunics, the ladies with dresses that flow like river water. They praise the weavers, the dyers, the tailors. They never think about you. But without you, their cloth would be limp, greasy, useless, because someone has to full it. And today, that someone is you. You start before sunrise, as always. The vats are waiting, low, wide tubs filled with water, earth, and the sharp sting of stale urine. Yes, urine. Human. Collected in buckets left outside alehouses and homes, donated for coin or out of pity. You've heard the jokes, the whispers. You're the piss walker, the cloth slosher, the filth dancer. But you don't hear them now, because you're in, up to your knees in lukewarm waste, wading through bundles of raw woolen cloth. Your job is to cleanse it, to remove the grease from the sheep's coat, the lanolin that makes it waterproof. And that doesn't happen on its own. It happens because you stomp for hours. You walk in circles. You knead the fabric with your feet, pressing and squeezing and folding and shifting. The wool drinks the ammonia-rich liquid and softens, tightens, takes on that smooth, finished texture others will later praise as fine. Your legs go numb around mid-morning. Not from cold, the vats are heated now and then, but from the ache. The same repetitive, bone-deep exhaustion that seeps into your thighs and lower back like water into stone. You try not to breathe through your nose, but you do. And every breath carries the sharp tang of ammonia, the sour hint of fermentation, and the ever-present mold that blooms around the vats no matter how often you scrape it. Your skin itches, cracks, your toenails have gone strange, yellowed, curling. Your lungs have never felt right, but still, you stomp, because there's more cloth, always more. Orders from abbeys, from manor houses, from soldiers and priests and foreign merchants. Wool is gold here, and you're one of the miners, digging not in earth, but in stench and labour. When you stop to eat, it's with hands still wet. No one wants to sit beside you. You're marked by the smell. It clings to your skin, your clothes, your very breath. Even dogs shy away. But you eat. Bread, cheese, whatever's in reach. You drink water from a bucket, then back to the vat. You keep working until your knees threaten to buckle, until your calves seize with cramps, until the cloth is finally ready to dry and stretch. Then you empty the vat, wash yourself, barely, and go home. But sleep never comes easily, because even when your body rests, your feet still twitch, still stomp through the ghosts of fabric. The motion never leaves you, and tomorrow you'll do it all again, because everyone needs clean cloth, but no one wants to know how it got that way. The grave digger. The cold greets you like an old friend. Not the wind, not the morning frost clinging to the hedges, but the kind of chill that settles into your bones from inside the earth itself. You feel it in your fingertips, your knees, your neck. The kind of cold that never really lets go. Because today, like every day, you dig. The cemetery is still. Rows of crooked wooden markers lean this way and that, some carved with names, most unmarked. The soil is dark, loose in places, hard as rock in others. But that doesn't matter. Your job is simple. You make room for the dead. The sexton left a stick stabbed into the ground where the new grave must go. No more instructions needed. You grab your shovel, sink its blade deep, and begin. Each scoop feels heavier than the last. The soil is wet, sticky, unforgiving. But your hands don't hesitate. You've done this hundreds of times, and you'll do it hundreds more. Sometimes the grave is for a stranger, a wandering merchant, a forgotten beggar, a child no one will claim. Other times it's for someone you knew, a neighbour, a friend, a cousin. But it doesn't matter. You dig just the same. No tears, no prayers, just work. The grave must be deep enough to keep wolves and dogs away, deep enough that the smell won't rise come summer. You know how important that is. You learned it young, watching your father dig, his back bent like a question mark. He died in one of these holes. Now you dig alone. As you work, you hear the muffled bells from the chapel tower, a slow toll. 1, 2, 3. You pause only to wipe your brow, smear dirt across your forehead and press on. Sometimes you uncover bones from a grave too shallow or too old to be remembered. You stack them neatly to the side, whispering a word or two. It's not superstition, it's habit. A little thread of respect in a world that offers so little of it. By midday, the grave is ready. You step back, stretch. Your spine cracks like old timber. You drink from your flask, lukewarm water with a trace of vinegar to kill the taste, and wait. The body comes soon after, wrapped in a rough sheet. No coffin, just cloth. 2 men carry it, silent, eyes averted. They nod at you, you nod back. No words are exchanged. Words are for the living. You lower the body yourself. Cover it slowly, respectfully, even when no one's watching. Because it matters, at least to you. You place a stone at the head. Maybe someone will remember, maybe not. Then you move to the next stick in the earth. There's always another grave to dig. And when your time comes, when the cold finally wins, you know exactly how it will end, because you've already dug your own grave 100 times over. The gong farmer, you always wait until nightfall. Not because you're ashamed, at least not anymore, but because they don't want to see you, not during meals, not while walking the streets, not while they're trying to forget that someone like you exists at all. So you wait until the town is quiet, until the fires burn low behind shuttered windows. Then you shoulder your tools and go to work. You are the gong farmer. Your job? Clean out the cesspits, the latrines, the trenches behind taverns, the secret holes behind noble halls, all the waste that no one wants to admit comes from their body until it overflows. And it always overflows. You wear thick boots wrapped with cloth. Your gloves are leather, cracked and stiff from use. The lantern in your hand throws a sickly glow on the wall as you open the first pit. The smell doesn't hit, it crashes into you like a wall. But you don't flinch. You haven't flinched in years. The pole is long, the scoop at the end heavy with rot. You reach in, stir slowly, pull, lift. The bucket fills with a slurry of human filth and food scraps and things you don't dare name. It sloshes, it splashes. Sometimes it burns if it gets on your skin. You learn that lesson fast. You haul it out, dump it into your cart, over and over, pit after pit. Some are worse than others. The baker's is always thick with grain and flies. The abbey's reeks of wine and shame. The brothels, well, you don't like to think about the brothels, but you clean it anyway. Because this is work, and in a town like this, that's more than most can say. You're paid in copper coins, sometimes bread, hard as stone. Once, a noblewoman tossed you a silver penny, but only because she thought it was funny. You didn't laugh. You never do. The worst part isn't the smell, it's the eyes, the way people look at you when they have to, like you're a walking curse, like your hands spread disease just by touching a door. Children point, men spit, women cross the road. But when their pits fill up, who do they call? Always you. Always. By dawn, your cart is full, covered with a cloth, though it hardly helps. You push it through the empty streets to the edge of town where the dumping ground waits, an open trench in the woods, far from the well, far from the chapel. You dump it all. Stand back, wipe your brow, and breathe the morning air, sharp and clean. For a moment, the stink fades. For a moment, you're just a man with strong hands and a job that needs doing. And then you turn back. Another pit waits. It always does. The leech collector. The marsh greets you with silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that hums with warning. Frogs croak from somewhere out of sight. Reeds whisper in the wind and under the surface. They wait. You're barefoot. It's the only way. Boots would slow you down, keep you from feeling where they latch on. And that's the whole point, isn't it? You are the leech collector, and your body is your bait. You step into the cold, brown water. It closes around your ankles like a promise. The mud squelches beneath your toes. Your legs tense, already bracing for the first sting. But you move forward, deeper into the pool. Reeds slap your calves. Insects dance near your face. Then it begins. A sudden prick, just above your ankle. Then another, behind your knee. You don't move. Not yet. Let them latch on. Let them drink. They say leeches cleanse the blood, cure fevers, ease pain. The barbers and surgeons prize them. Monks buy them by the sackful. But someone has to gather them first. That someone is you. You hold the basket high, one hand always above water. Your other hand remains close to your thigh, ready to swat away the greedy ones. The big ones. The ones that crawl too far up. You've heard stories. You've lived some of them. You still bear scars where a leech nestled too close to your groin and fed for hours before you woke. It's not fear you feel, it's focus. You move slowly, letting them drink. Blood runs down your shin, mixing with the marsh. When one swells, fat and dark and lazy, you pinch it off gently and drop it in the jar. Over and over. You fill the jar by afternoon. Dozens of slick, pulsing creatures writhe inside. Silent currency for the apothecaries and wise women who won't ask how you got them. Your legs are numb, your skin puckered and bleeding. And yet, there's something calming about it all. The stillness, the way the leeches know nothing of war or tax or famine. They take what they need, no more. You step out of the water, legs streaked with crimson. No bandages, just moss pressed to the worst of it, tied with cloth. You sit beneath a tree, open your sack of bread, and eat in silence. The world turns slowly here, forgotten, but the leeches are not. Someone will always want them, and someone will always need to collect them. That someone is you, the plague watcher. You awaken to silence, but not the peaceful kind. No birds, no carts, no dogs barking. Just the kind of silence that seeps under doors and hides in rafters. The kind that feels like it's waiting for something. You're not in the village anymore. Not really. You're on the edge of it. A liminal post where no one wants to be. They don't even call you by name anymore. You're just the watcher. Your job is simple. You sit, you stare, and you wait for someone to die. The post they gave you is at the old chapel's bell tower, a half-crumbling stone perch above the roofline. From here, you can see every house on the eastern row. The alley where the baker's boy coughed up blood. The hovel where they carried out old Mickle wrapped in canvas. You watch the doorways, the windows, the smoke, or lack of it. You notice when the laundry stops getting washed. Your only tool, a strip of red cloth and a wooden mallet. If you see signs, black buboes, wheezing breaths, the reek of decay, you tie the red cloth to the door. You hammer once, loud, sharp, final. It's the mark. You don't help, you don't knock, you just mark them. The villagers pretend you don't exist. You eat alone. You sleep in the loft above the bell. Rats your only company. No one touches you. No one speaks. Even the priest won't offer you the host. They say the disease doesn't just cling to skin, it rides in the soul. And in the quiet hours you start to wonder if they're right, because you've begun to hear things, whispering in the wind, footsteps that don't echo, Last night, you swore the bell swayed on its own. And sometimes, when you look too long at a window, you see eyes already watching you back. This morning, 3 homes bear your mark. You saw the youngest daughter of the miller clutching her stomach, her eyes sunken like pits. She waved to you. You didn't wave back. You never do. You just tied the cloth, hammered once, then you walked away. Your stomach churns, but not from hunger. It's dread, or guilt, maybe both. There's no training for this job, just the rope, the cloth, and the dread. They said the last watcher went mad, claimed he saw death itself crawling along the rooftops, said it whispered names in his ear before the sick ever coughed. You're not there. Not yet. But the silence is growing heavier, and from the edge of the fields where the fog clings to the trees, you swear you see a figure just standing, waiting, watching, just like you. You blink, and it's gone. You exhale. Another day begins. Another death awaits. And you're still here, alone above the village, watching the world end, one red cloth at a time. The tannery assistant. Your eyes open to a smell so foul it sears your throat before your mind even wakes. Welcome to the tannery. No roosters crow here. Even the flies don't buzz too loudly, as if the stench is too much for them to celebrate. You've only just started your shift, but your skin already feels coated in grease and rot. The master tanner barks at you before your feet hit the ground. Scrape the hides, or don't bother breathing. Your hands tremble, still raw from yesterday. There's no time for bandages. You pick up the knife anyway, its wooden grip slick with sweat, or something worse. First, the soaking pits. You haul out cow skins bloated from weeks of steeping in urine and feces. That's the first step. And yes, that's human waste, collected from chamber pots brought in every morning, steaming in the cold. It softens the hide, makes it pliable, breaks it down like it's breaking you. You slip, nearly falling face first into the reeking sludge. No one would help you if you did. They just wait for you to drag yourself back out, or not. One less mouth, one less body taking up air. Once soaked, the hides go to the beam, where you stretch them and scrape off the fat, the hair, the leftover flesh. The smell is thickest here. It clings to your lungs, your clothes, your memory. You don't know if the sky is cloudy today, or if it's just the fumes making your eyes water. And the lime pit. Oh, the lime pit. You lower the hides into the caustic mix with shaking arms. It burns your cuts. It blisters your fingers. Some boys have lost nails here. Others have lost hands. But the leather must be softened, treated, made useful. The irony doesn't escape you. You're stripping life off flesh to give life to something else. Boots, saddles, belts, armor. All so others can walk cleaner, ride faster, wear finer. You pause, catching a breath behind a stack of hides. There's a moment, just a heartbeat, where the wind shifts and the sun breaks through the clouds. You see a bird, high above, gliding without effort, free from the stink, the weight, the endless scraping. And then the moment's gone. The tanner shouts again. Back to the scraping, back to the lime, back to a smell that's become a part of your bones. You won't smell right for days, maybe not ever again. You dream sometimes that your skin will start to tan too, stretched, scraped, bleached, and maybe then you'd finally be useful enough. The bell ringer. You wake in the dark, long before dawn dares to show its face. There's no rooster to greet you, only the cold sting of a stone floor under your feet and the ache in your spine from another night, curled beneath the church eaves. Your hands grope for the rope before your eyes even adjust. The bell waits. They call you the bell ringer. But that's too simple. You don't just toll metal, you keep time. You speak to the village in thunder. You announce the births, the deaths, the hours, the saints, the storms. You are the voice of the tower, and today your throat is raw. Your first toll is matins, hours before first light. A slow, groaning rhythm meant to rouse the monks from their dreams and start the prayers that will keep the world spinning. You pull hard, again, again. The rope snaps you upward with every toll, then yanks you back down as if the tower itself wants to swallow you whole. The air is thick with pigeon feathers and cold breath. Every time the bell swings, dust rains down from the rafters. You've learned not to cough. Too many years of bell dust in the lungs and you'll never catch your breath again. Your fingers are blistered. Your palms are calloused in crescents where the rope bites deepest. You wrap your hands in rags, but it doesn't help. You bleed anyway. The bell doesn't care. By Lords, the sun begins to rise, dim and reluctant. You don't see it, of course. You're already halfway up the tower again, hoisting the smaller bell for the merchant hour. The gearwork creaks, the pulley moans. You're not just ringing anymore. You're cranking, lifting, praying, nothing gives out. The last boy broke his arm when the weight pulled him sideways. The tower groans like an old man. You groan with it. You don't have a name anymore, not one anyone uses. Just ringer. Just a sound to match the job. A walking echo. Sometimes when the bell peals loudest, you think you hear something under the clang, voices almost, like the dead are speaking back. You wonder how many funerals you've rung for, how many souls you've escorted with those heavy strokes. Too many to count. No one thanks you. They just know the day begins when your back breaks a little more. You get no sermon, no communion, just cold soup in the vestry and a damp cot you don't have time to lie in. The hours roll on. Vespers, then compline. You ring for sleep while you stay awake. Always awake, always ringing. And when the final bell tolls and the tower falls silent, your ears still hum with phantom echoes. You lie down, but the ringing follows you into dreams. If you're lucky, those dreams will be silent, but they rarely are. The dye vat stirrer. You open your eyes to purple, or something that was once purple. Now it's a murky swirl of browns, reds, and shadows. You blink, and the scent hits you. A rich, meaty stench mixed with rot, salt, and something sharp that stings the back of your throat. You're at the dye house. Your hands are already stained. Not metaphorically, literally. The pigment has seeped under your nails, into your skin, behind your ears, even up your nose. You haven't been clean in weeks, maybe months. Not really. Your job today, as every day, stir the vat. Not with a ladle, with your arms. The cauldron is enormous, sunk into a stone basin and hot enough to scald. It takes the effort of 3 boys to keep the fire beneath it steady, and another 2 to bring the dried madder root, the crushed lichen, the imported indigo, all precious, all volatile. But you're the stirrer. You are the arms in the potion. The dye is fickle. If it isn't stirred, it clumps and ruins. If it gets too hot, it froths. If it's too cold, it dulls. The colour must be even, alive, and that means movement. Endless, slow, steady movement. You lean over the lip and plunge your forearms in, careful not to slip, though many have. You once saw a girl lose half her face in the boiling bath. They buried her in cloth the same colour she died stirring. Poetic, someone said. Cruel, someone else muttered. You said nothing. You kept stirring. The stench comes from the fixatives. Urine, blood, crushed shellfish, old alum and newer bones. Each colour demands a different cocktail, and all of them ruin your appetite. Today it's Kermes red, royal, rich, and utterly vile. The insects used to make it are imported, crushed by the hundreds, and the leftover paste sinks to the bottom of the vat like silt. It clings to your arms. You wonder if your own skin is turning crimson underneath all the other colours. They pay well for colour. The lords demand vivid robes and the merchants want bright banners. But no one ever asks who makes the dye. They see the fabric, not the hands that boiled in it. You pause only once to wipe your brow, which is useless because your sleeve is just another palette. A boy drops a new bundle of wool into the vat beside you, and you push it under. The cloth resists at first, like it knows what you're doing to it. You press harder. The steam curls around your face like breath. Warm, heavy, a whisper from the cauldron. You don't answer. You just keep stirring, because if you stop, the colour dies. And if the colour dies, so do you. The executioner's assistant. You wake before the sun rises, though you didn't sleep much anyway. Not with the shouting, not with the weeping that slipped through the stone walls of the jail all night long. You're not the executioner, not yet. You're just the one who sharpens the blades, hauls the bodies and cleans up the mess. Your hands are blistered, not from violence but from the endless scrubbing. The stones beneath the platform have grooves now, worn not from footsteps but from blood. The crowd gathers early today. They always do when it's a hanging. Murmurs ripple like waves through the market square. Vendors even set up carts. Children climb onto barrels. There's laughter. Someone's roasting chestnuts. But you're behind the scaffold, inspecting the rope. It must be clean. It must be tight. It must be oiled. You've seen what happens when it's not. Heads slowly twisting on snapped vertebrae. Bodies twitching. A whole town holding its breath through a botched end. You've seen the executioner turn pale when that happens. You've seen him blame you. Your job is precision. The tools must be ready. The axe for when the rope fails. The sack for the head, if there is one. The lime for the body pit. The shovel. The spare rope. And the bucket. You wait by the stairs as the condemned is led up. Manacled. Hollow-eyed. Sometimes they curse. Sometimes they cry. This one looks empty, like he already left his skin behind. You hold your breath anyway. Sometimes they spit. You don't flinch anymore, not visibly. When the trapdoor swings open and the rope snaps taut, the crowd gasps, but you already move. You're beneath the gallows before the murmurs settle. You check the knot. You check the twitching. You wait. And then, when it's over, you cut him down. Your arms ache as you drag the body to the cart. He's heavier now, dead weight with no breath. His feet drag through dust. The children scatter. The women cross themselves. The executioner wipes his brow, then walks away. He doesn't speak to you. He never does. You're the one who finishes the job. The one who cleans the blood. The one who buries the name no one wants to say again. By midday, the square is washed clean. The rope is coiled. The body is gone. And by sunset, someone else will sleep in the jail. You return to your corner by the barracks and sit with your tools, sharpening in silence. You stare at your hands, steady, practiced, trembling only on the inside. You're not the executioner, not yet, but you're close. And that thought is somehow colder than the steel you sharpen. The river dredger. It starts with cold water creeping into your boots, then into your bones. You're knee-deep in the river before the mist even lifts off the surface. It clings to your eyelashes, and coats your breath in silver. You don't speak. There's no one to talk to anyway. Just the slosh of water and the occasional grunt when your rake snags something heavy. You are a river dredger. They say rivers are the lifeblood of the land, that they carry trade, feed crops, connect villages. But they also carry rot, and someone has to clear it out. Someone like you. The mud is thick, greedy. It sucks at your legs with every step, like it wants to keep you. You walk the shallows slowly, dragging the iron rake behind you, teeth down, feeling for what doesn't belong. Rotting logs, tangled nets, dead animals. Sometimes worse. Your fingers are numb, your shoulders ache, but you keep pulling, one sweep at a time, loading muck onto the bank where the apprentice piles it into wheelbarrows. It smells like death, old death, the kind that's been stewing underwater and fish slime for weeks. Today you find a boot, still on a leg. You don't stop. You've seen worse. You drag it in, call for the reeve. He inspects the remains, makes a mark, mutters about the drunkard who went missing 2 weeks back. Then he walks away, leaving you with the rest. You bury it on the riverbank. No grave, no prayer, just more silt. Some days you dredge near the mill where the wheel churns lazy circles in the water. On feast days, you're told to stay upstream, where they bathe and draw holy water. They don't want to see what's really beneath. You found coins once, bent and rusted, tossed by some hopeful pilgrim. You pocketed them. Who would blame you? Once you pulled up a broken sword. Another time, a cradle. Empty, mercifully. The river never forgets, but it buries. Your job is to remind it that the living still need passage. The worst days are after storms. The water rises, the mud churns, the silt is deeper. You have to tie a rope around your chest, anchored to a tree, just in case the current pulls you under. You dream often of sinking, peacefully, of letting the river close over your head like a warm blanket. But you always wake to the cold, to the stink, to the next rake full of filth. You don't wear gloves. They just get in the way. Your hands are cracked, calloused, and always damp. Even in sleep, your fingernails smell faintly of algae, and you wonder sometimes if when you die, they'll find you here, face down in the river, skin turning blue, arms still reaching through the mud for something you were never meant to find. The sin eater. They never invite you through the front door. You come to the dead through the back, through the garden gate or the alleyway behind the stable, always after dark, always after the priest has left. You are not welcome, but you are needed. You are the sin eater. The knock is soft. 2 taps, pause, 1 more. That's how they summon you. You don't reply. You just enter, cloaked, hood drawn low. You don't want to see their faces, and they don't want to see yours. The corpse lies still, mouth stitched or gaping. The family stands to the side, eyes averted. No tears anymore, just waiting. They place a crust of bread on the chest, a mug of ale beside the body, sometimes cheese or a bit of salted pork if they can afford it. But the bread is always there, always touching the skin. You kneel. You speak no prayer. That's the priest's work. Yours is darker. You take the bread, now full of sorrow, and eat it. You drink the ale, bitter with guilt. You chew slowly, feeling their life pass through you, their lies, their violence, their confessions never made. You swallow it all. They say each bite pulls a piece of the soul out of purgatory, that with each mouthful you become more stained. You believe them. You've done this for years, long enough that people cross themselves when you pass. Mothers pull their children close. Dogs bark when you approach. You haven't been blessed in over a decade. Your hands shake now, and you don't know if it's from age or accumulation, because the sins don't leave you. They fester. You carry them like stones in your belly, like whispers in your ear. You remember names. Too many. Some you never met alive. Some died in shame. Others with smiles. All of them became part of you. Once, in a dream, you saw them all, lined up on a riverbank, faces pale and silent, watching you eat, and you kept eating. Tonight's death was young, a boy, barely 10. The bread is small, the cup only half filled, but the room is heavy. His mother clutches a shawl and won't look at you. You see the fear in her jaw, the way she flinches as you lift the food. You do not speak. You never do. You eat. Then you leave, back into the night. No thanks given. No name spoken. The weight grows heavier. And you wonder, when your time comes, who will eat your sins, and what kind of appetite will they need. The stone breaker, it begins with a ringing in your ears, not from bells, not from voices, just the echo of iron on stone, repeated so often it's burrowed into your skull. Even in sleep you hear it. Clang, clang, clang. You are a stone breaker, not a mason, not a sculptor. Those are men with craft. You are a pair of arms and a hammer. Your job is not to build, it's to destroy. You wake before the sun rises, shoulders already sore from the weight of yesterday's labor. Your hands are raw beneath the leather wrappings. You slip your fingers into the loops of your hammer, still crusted with dust, and trudge to the quarry. There's no greeting, just the foreman's nod, and the clatter of pickaxes biting into the hillside. The rock face towers over you, jagged and grey. It has no end and no face, just bulk, just weight. It mocks you. For every chunk you chip free, the mountain offers 1,000 more. You kneel at the base, choosing your line, and bring the hammer down, first gently, then with force. Your arms shudder. The stone cracks, maybe, or maybe not. You strike again, and again, and again. Your only company is the dust. It clogs your throat, coats your skin, gets into your eyes until the world becomes a grey smear. Your sweat turns to mud in it. Your breath rasps like a saw blade. You try not to think. Thinking slows the rhythm. Thinking reminds you that this rock has been here since before your village, your ancestors, before language, before fire, and it will still be here when you're gone. You break stones to make roads, they say, or walls, or cathedrals, but you never see where they go. You just watch them pile the rubble onto carts and wheel it away. You are not building the world. You are simply breaking it into smaller pieces. Sometimes a shard flies up and cuts your cheek. You don't flinch. Sometimes a stone collapses under you and takes your footing. You grunt and get back up. No one helps you. Everyone's too tired to notice. You eat your bread with hands still chalked in grey. You drink water that tastes like metal. At night, you dream of stones falling, burying you, and waking to find your arms still swinging the hammer, forever. Your back has a permanent bend now. Your knees pop with every step. When it rains, the joints ache like you're already halfway into the grave. And still, every morning, you return, because the mountain doesn't move. But you must. The night watch torchbearer. You don't wake up for your shift. You stay awake for it. Sleep is dangerous when your job starts at dusk and ends at dawn. You are the night watch torchbearer. The town sleeps while you walk its shadows. Lantern in one hand, cudgel in the other. You are the flicker that pushes back the dark. Barely. Your feet drag along cobblestones still slick with rain or worse. Every house you pass is shuttered, quiet. Some creak in the wind, others don't creak at all. And that's when you worry. Your job is to make your presence known. You stamp your feet, you cough loudly, you rattle the iron rings of your lamppost at every corner. It's not for the people, it's for the things that creep. You listen, always, to rats in the grain stores, to drunkards singing themselves to sleep in the alleys, to something heavier, breathing, maybe, just out of reach. You stop at every turn and whisper the same old call. All's well. Is it? The oil in your lantern runs low. You tilt it slightly to spread the flame. The light dances on the walls like ghosts with nowhere left to go. Your cudgel rests against your shoulder. It's not much, just wood, but better than your bare hands. You patrol the market square, where shadows pool in doorways and under carts. Then the baker's lane, where last week someone found a body, throat slashed, purse gone, eyes open to the stars. You cross yourself when you pass that spot. In the wealthier district, guards with halberds sleep on benches or pretend to. They nod at you. You nod back. No one speaks. Too much breath wasted in the cold. At the wall, you climb the wooden steps to the watchtower. Your legs tremble near the top. There's always the fear that someone, or something, waits up there. But tonight, it's just wind, just fog. You ring the bell once, your turn is halfway done. Back down the steps, past the stables, past the same blind beggar curled in a doorway, even at this hour. You don't disturb him. What could he steal? You wrap your cloak tighter, feel your heartbeat settle into the rhythm of your boots. One step, one breath, one slow swing of the lantern. The cold gets into your teeth, the dark gets into your thoughts. But still, you walk. Because if your flame goes out, someone else won't wake up. And because when no one else is watching, you are. The bone picker. The sun has barely risen. The dew still clings to the grass like cold fingers. But you're already out past the edge of the village, where the land sours and the crows gather in threes. You're a bone picker. No one speaks to you anymore. Not really. They give you a wide berth at the well, and their coins hit the ground instead of your hand. You've stopped trying to return their greetings. You know what they see. Filth, stink, and death clinging to you like a second skin. But that's the job. You walk the burial fields each morning, rake in one hand, sack in the other. Your boots crunch over old bones rising from loose earth. Bodies buried shallow in haste or war or plague. Some graves have stones, others don't. But you find them all the same. Your task is simple. Collect what's left behind. Bones too close to the surface. Skulls disturbed by foxes. Fragments washed up in the rain. You gather them gently, as if the dead might still feel it. You place them in the sack with a quiet reverence that no one sees and no one thanks you for. The ossuary waits at the far end of the graveyard, an old charnel house half sunken, thick with mildew. You've stacked skulls there by the hundreds. Some grin at you in the dark, others stare blankly, eye sockets wide as questions. You try not to imagine their stories. Still, some bones speak louder than others. A splintered femur with blade marks. A child's jaw with milk teeth still in place. A hand curled like it never quite let go. You wonder sometimes what it would be like to leave them, to walk past the bones, to pretend you never saw them. But if you don't collect them, who will? The priest says it's holy work. Returning the forgotten to God, he tells you, without looking you in the eye. But you know better. The bone trade is good coin. powdered bone for the apothecaries, clean femurs for butchers and cobblers, carved into tools, skulls for scholars, or darker things. You've sold your share, you've washed blood from the sockets. Sometimes you hear whispers in the ossuary. The wind, you tell yourself. Sometimes you believe it. There's no end to the work. The earth keeps pushing the past back up, like it's trying to remind you nothing stays buried forever. By the end of the day, your sack is full, your fingers are stiff, your back aches. You dump the bones into the bin behind the chapel and light incense no one else will smell. You sit on the chapel step, breathing in smoke and silence, and you wonder, when your own time comes, who will pick your bones, and whether they'll treat them with care. And now, your shift is over. You've walked through 18 lives, calloused, crooked, forgotten. You've carried the weight of their labour, breathed in their dust, knelt in their filth, and listened to their silence. You've survived what most never could, and even though you were only there for a moment, it left its mark. You see, history isn't just names and battles carved into stone. It's backs that bent without praise, hands that blistered without record, souls that were broken quietly, completely, in jobs no one remembers. And now you do. So, as you lay your head down tonight, give a thought to the unknown ones, the ones whose lives were spent doing the work that kept the world from falling apart. The bell ringers, the bone pickers, the watchers in the dark. You wouldn't last a day in their shoes, but tonight you did something harder. You listened. If this story brought you any peace, consider leaving a like or sharing where you're listening from in the comments. There's something gentle about seeing sleepy strangers gathered together across centuries and time zones. Until next time, rest well, sleep deep, and be glad that when you wake up tomorrow, you won't have to light the torch, carry the bones, or boil the dye. Your shift is done.